Hello, this is a Bechstein Model 4 made in 1901. That's 120 centimetres tall, and it's in for assessment. The client wants to know what sort of work could be done, well, to get the piano into reasonable shape, or it may need fully restoring. So we're just going to look at first of all the casework, which is, as you can see, extremely worn. It's unusually worn on the front there, and the top here as well, you can see bits missing. So I don't think there's any alternative, if you want the piano to look good, to just strip it and refinish the whole piano. There's actually some veneer missing here, if you can see there's some veneer missing as well. As I say, it's unusual for a piano to get like this. Top being well played and very well loved. The key tops are ivory and extremely yellowed. We often replace ivory key tops these days, though of course the client may well want to keep them to remember what the piano looked like, in which case we'd have to scrape and polish them. There is a method of ultraviolet light and making them go lighter again, go white. It's not something we do ourselves, but if you're in the trade and would like to comment on that, please do write below this video. It would be really useful. The client inherited the piano from her father, who had it apparently for 80 years or so, and played it extensively, as we can see how it's worn. And in fact the piano has actually been restored by somebody at some stage. It's got clip-on tapes here. These are what I call temporary tapes, because you can clip them on individually. If you're a tuner, it's useful to have a set of these. Then if you're not going to replace all the tapes with just one of them, then it clips on there. I don't know if you can see the clip. The clip needs tightening up a lot so that it doesn't pull off, but it's perfectly okay to put clip-on tapes on. We would normally glue tapes on though instead, which is the normal way of doing things, and they were originally glued on. So we can see there is some wear. These lines I've put on here because the hammers are a bit loose, so that means the pins there, the centre pins, need changing, probably more than I've marked, but I've marked some of the worst ones. And here we can see this hammer's actually come off. Maybe something hit it, because this damper's also gone down here. So obviously that hammer doesn't work, and the damper, well, that's the hammer hitting that. So the tone of the piano is roughly what you'd expect a Model 5 to be. It's one of the most common Bechstein uprights, and that's, at that point, it's got a bit weak. It often does. The down bearing perhaps has got lost at that point, and you do get a difference between the tone this side and that side. But it's roughly as you expect it, although it's not regulated, so they're not coming off the string properly. So a general regulation at least. The springs seem to be good. That's the damper springs, reasonable. We could fully restore the whole piano, and then obviously it would be better. But it's working reasonably well. There's also down here you can see the fly dampers. Those two are kind of like engaged with each other. Well, the pitch of the piano is actually A428, so it's extremely flat, not been tuned for a long time, I'm sure. Although not too badly out of tune with itself. That shows it's a well-made piano. But that's a massive pitch raise. Normally we can pitch raise without breaking strings by lubricating here, as we've said before, and then taking it all down and back up. And normally strings don't break, although in the treble here the strings are individually strung. The piano, by the way, was disengaged here, so that was obviously causing a problem with the touch, and this is quite a common thing to happen with this system. That normally you'd have action bolts and so on, but here you've just got these on this older model. Perfectly all right, but it can come out like that. So that's how we found the piano. Pulling the action forward, we can see that these are individually strung. In other words, as we've said before, normally they're down and back up again, so you don't have to replace the whole string. You can use the same string again, but in this case, because they're individually attached to the pins, you'd have to replace an individual string if they did break, and one of them has been replaced here a long time ago. So that's something you have to bear in mind if you are pitch raising. On most pianos are not individually strung like this. Bosendorfer are like this too, Ibach uprights, and some Bechsteins in the top treble, down a bit lower down, they're not like that. So down the bottom here we can see that the piano is strung like this, so that these two belong to the same pin, so you can use that string again, but this one is individual, so That is not the most common thing nowadays. You don't find that very much, but here you've got, so one note has got that string, and then there's these two sharing the same pin. So that one would have to be replaced if it broke, but if this one broke, you could wind it down on one tuning pin and back up on the other, and that's what we would normally do. So this damper's just come loose, and that's easy to fix. And the hammer, I think also that the hinge has just come off, so that's something we can easily replace. And you can see here that there's a couple of springs being replaced here, so the work's been done on the piano. I've screwed the damper back on, but unfortunately the hole for the screw here, that's just one of these screws, needs plugging because it's not screwing in properly. And also we've got the loop cord broken here too. These loop cords, they break on Yamahas a lot. They need replacing on this piano. They're very old and surprisingly lasting very long time. And at the break point here we can see this note, the damper isn't in the right place, so just needs moving over a bit. So I've rectified that, and there's got a fly damper here because the harmonic tends to sound too strong. That's common for Bechstein's. Yamaha do the same actually. Maybe a couple of these sometimes need fly dampers. I've rectified the bottom fly damper here too, but it still needs regulating. We've just got it roughly working, and now it needs full regulation. Our major issue on Model 4 Bechsteins, that's Bechstein pre-1902, the Model 4 changed into a Model 9, so the Model 1 to 4 became 5 to 9, and number 4 is the overstrung here, number 5 is the straight strung, and both of them have a problem with the rest blank. Very often they're restored very often, and new tuning pins, longer tuning pins put in, thicker ones, and still they're loose because the rest blank behind here doesn't really hold them. So that happens, I think central heating dries it out. But interestingly enough, on this one, this is 1901, so one of the very later ones, so lots of them are 1890, 1895, and they all have a problem with the rest blank. This one doesn't seem to. It's obviously, if you don't have the rest blank replaced and you have central heating, then it may well be that you will get a problem with the rest blank. If you have underfloor heating, I would definitely recommend changing the rest blank. That's the wood behind here is called the rest blank. So they don't hold, but these are holding quite well. They're not loose at all. So that's something to think about. As I say, normally Model 4 and 5 need rest blanks, and we've got plenty of videos showing where we've had to replace the rest blank. And the pianos are beautiful, the tone's beautiful, but you have this problem. But this one doesn't seem to have that problem. So I'll discuss that with the client. Obviously it's very expensive having to take the whole piano apart, restring the piano, replace the rest blank, and as all the strings practically are all there, that one there has been replaced as well at some stage, but it seems to match in quite well. Well, it needs pitch raising and tuning. The dampers are coming off too early, so there's lots of regulation to do. And there's the serial number from which we're able to date the piano. And I was pleased to find this tuner's label here, because he worked for Thompson and Shacknell, which you often find that name on pianos, and that's in Cardiff. So there's a choice to be made on this piano. You could do full restoration, which would mean you have a new rest plank as well, and that's obviously the best thing to do in terms of the longevity of the piano, because you've got a rest plank exactly the same as you'd have on a new piano. It's the same. We use either Delignate or rock maple rest planks. Delignate's less expensive but extremely good, and in a lot of new pianos. Then repairing and regulate the action. Well, general regulation it needs, and there are a few repairs. I didn't mention voicing the hammers because the hammers are very worn and indented, so refacing and voicing the hammers. They don't really need replacing. There's plenty of felt left on them, though it could be replaced. That's obviously even a lot more expensive if you do that. And then repolishing. Well, you can French polish the piano or you can polyester it like a modern piano, and there's some veneer missing. So again, there's another choice to make. Pitch raise and tune, well, it's extremely below pitch. Hopefully we won't break any strings if we pitch raise it. Normally we wouldn't break one, perhaps just one string, but that's something certainly bringing it up to pitch will liven up the tone and enable you to play with other instruments. And the key weighting, surprisingly, is not too bad. 22 up weight there. We've mentioned that you shouldn't go below 20 up weight, certainly. 65 grams down weight's a bit high, but you couldn't bring that down because you would find that the up weight goes below 20 or could go below 20. We can lubricate the balance rail. I didn't mention that, but many times mentioned that in the past, that lubricating that will make a difference to the touch and even it out and lighten it slightly as well. So we can see here we've got 40 for middle C here. That's middle C, note 40 on a piano. So 34 up weight, 53. That could be brought down. I hope that's helpful. This piano was owned by her father for over 80 years apparently, and it's obviously something you want to do, and we often find obviously people want to keep the piano if they can, so that can be done. Full restoration is extremely more costly obviously than it would be if you just did regulation and just the minimum of work, and the casework really needs doing. So let's have a listen to the piano and see if we can make any further observations. So that's an assessment for restoration of a Bechstein Model 4 upright piano made in 1901. Surprisingly, as I was mentioning, the rest plank in this case doesn't need replacing. We've made plenty of videos where we've shown that the tuning pins have just gone loose, even though they're the biggest tuning pins and the longest. Still gone loose, and the rest plank you've got no choice really. In this case, it may not be necessary, but it would obviously be advantageous. The key dip, as you can see here, is very great. So 11.5 to 12 millimeters, and maybe even more than that. It's obviously been it's work was done on the piano. The tapes were replaced, but the key dip seems to have made the same, and the sharps are disappearing underneath the naturals. They should be 2 millimeters roughly above. So that's work to do, a lot of regulation to do. The key tops are very yellow. Now if we scrape and polish them, they will go less yellow, but they're still going to look a bit yellow. But fortunately, none of them have been chipped, which is remarkable, and none of them seem to have been taken off and stuck back on again, which is surprising as well. So there's lots of good things to say. Now we often replace key tops because if you export a piano, you have to get a special certificate, which can take a long time to do. If you sell a piano with ivory keys, you have to pay £20 at the moment, registration of them. But even though it's extremely flat, it's remarkably in tune, isn't it, with itself, and not been tuned for a long time, I'm sure. But Bechsteins are so well made, and they're very stable pianos. You can hear the richness of the tone even though it's not at pitch, and the hammers definitely need refacing. They're not really bringing out the fact. You can hear actually the fact that the key dip is so great. You can hear the key knocking on the bottom there. We've rarely found a piano that's been so, in fact I don't think I've ever seen anything like this, where it's so marked there and marks here and also down where the feet are, which is remarkable really. But obviously it was ebonized originally, and we can see if a polisher will do that for us. I say that because it's difficult to find people who can really ebonize well. That's why so many pianos these days, instead of being ebonized, they're just sprayed in black polyester, which doesn't quite look right for the age of the piano, but it's so commonly done. I hope that's useful, and I'm really enjoying the tone of this piano, though the touch is very difficult to control. Thank you very much for listening. If you've got a piano and you like a piano restored or assessed, then we're really happy to assess the piano. So please write to us, robertspianos@gmail.com.